Hi, it's Bill. Question 2. What are the texts typically used in the content areas, specifically art, music, and physical education? With this span that the three of us have, one being kindergarten and early childhood, one being 5th through 8th special needs, and one being 5th with half the class being accelerated, we really did get a good representation of a span between, say, kindergarten and 8th grade of what is currently being used. In art, we found that things that were being used to do art studies were biographies, articles from Scholastic or other magazines, anything that inspired artistic ideas, and videos, both music, graphic, and graphic novel type videos. When we interviewed the teachers, two quotes came to mind for art. In early education, it's very easy to incorporate literature. We do a lot of artist studies using art collection books for inspiration and copying artist styles, such as they use Van Gogh's Starry Night book, and the children then reproduce their own version of Starry Night. This was my kindergarten class. We also will do art projects as responses to read-alouds, literature that supports the imagination, needed to be an artist in the early grades. And then we also do different studies similar to Writer's Workshop. I teach units on types of lines and how to cut the safest way for the students. The students then use those different lines to create three-dimensional art products and have the students dictate to us what they're expressing with their pieces. So it ties in a little bit of literature. In music, current best practices in early childhood support the foundations of oral language ability, being a predictor for literacy and future reading success, with rhyming songs, finger plays, songs that introduce onset and rhyme, songs to remember data and information such as days of the week, months of the year, addition and subtraction songs, things like that. Other things that have been used: music textbooks, songbooks, printed song lyrics, musical piece titles, biographies of past musical composers in the upper grades, and texts related to major music movements in the upper grades, like the Harlem Renaissance or the Jazz era or the blues. Things like that all are all things that are used currently to instruct in music. Some quotes that we've gotten from teachers we interviewed for instrumental music: we used a method book from the I Recommend series, published by Alfred. They contain a series of warm-ups, lip slurs, chorals, things like that, scale studies. Outside that, this teacher reported that they don't use much in the way of text. In general, music, Julia, not to be confused with Julia England, part of our group, Julia in the school, and I make things up as we go, as our texts are a little out of date. That's a common thread, it seems. I'm not well versed enough on the Promethean board, but would very much like to be for general music. There are certain programs available for teaching music theory on the interactive boards. For instrumental and choral music, we're looking into implementing a program called Smart Music into our curriculum, which is a web-based music assessment program. The student plays into a microphone, which records them and assesses them according to what is printed in the music. Sounds interesting. This program also has many practice aids for at home and in the classroom uses. From Jenna Makos, middle school music teacher at West Hampton Middle School. In physical education, things that are already done: kinesthetic movements for literacy terms or words. I mean, it goes as far back as heads, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. When I was teaching second grade last year, I did a punch out, a fist out for items in bold for informative texts, across the chest, the hand out flat for underlining, touch the forehead for headings, things like that. Game rules, newspaper articles, magazines, textbooks, again, for health and things like that seem to be a standard. Videos, and in health it says we use Glencoe health textbooks. This book gives us all the information for our classes because they are written with the health standards in mind. And some of the things that were pulled from the teachers that we know for phys ed, they basically, one school reported no texts are used. They use rules of sport, modify them, grade level safety, things like that. Football, no tackling, things like that. All, I guess, in written form around the room. A lot of phys ed workshops are centered around teachers sharing their games and activities. Then they modify it to make them harder if needed. Some games they make up from scratch, but again, no written or literary. In health, though, Smartboards makes it a lot easier. They are quoted as saying, using Active Inspire makes lessons flow. Pictures, videos, in slides, especially teaching about the effects of drugs and alcohol or the birth cycle. Ooh. It makes it more understandable to watch a short video clip or pictures than just talking about it. I would probably use the video for that. The next one says they wish they could have the smartboard, but with it being a gym, it's difficult because of breakage. It's just too risky. But they use a TV on a cart for DVDs, things like that sometimes. And it says that they don't have access or use the library or computer lab for phys ed because the time is taken. From the middle school PE health teacher, Maria York. How can the literacy coach support content area teachers? We came up with several strategies when we met. First, we said they could provide the curriculum map, help the teachers understand that better. Professional development, basically connecting in how to connect language arts to the 3 subject areas, using technology, using any sort of resources the school may have, the language arts or literacy coach may have, and also the teachers, things they might have researched and tried on their own. Providing rubrics for teacher assessment and student self-assessment. The reflective practice, I guess you would call it. Having teachers and really, really open to reflecting on their own practices, and then having students reflect on themselves as well and use that data to drive instruction further on. And letter D. When we met, we talked about the way we were collaborating and how that is something paramount to successful leadership as a literacy coach, getting teachers talking in a safe environment. We have a quote from Literacy Leadership and Literacy Coaches. As teachers collaboratively discuss student learning and their practice, they create a learning community. Although the focus on student learning is paramount, the discussions are powerful, as they also involve teachers sharing their perspectives on what and why literacy instruction works. Discussing multiple perspectives within a learning community helps teachers understand why they teach as they do. I just want to kind of sum this up that the collaborative part is really the most essential piece to this. Everyone has to be open to it. They have to be willing to reflect on what they're doing, look at possible areas for improvement, and then as a team, including the literacy coach, not as necessarily a coach, but as a peer, investigate what they can do to improve and enhance current best practice instructions on all areas with literacy infused throughout. You have to look at what's working and what isn't working. Now, letter E is essential for me. Modeling strategies and lessons. At my school, literacy coaches basically come in, they sit behind an iPad for about an hour, then they come back and tell me what they think I should try. I kind of like the phrase walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. Come in and show me. If you think there's something that I can learn, and I am a visual learner as it is, then come in and do it for me. Show me how to make my instruction better, and I guarantee you that I will incorporate it. There's no doubt. I mean, I'll try it anyway, but I don't think literacy coaches should consider themselves so much above teachers that they won't be willing to get their hands dirty in the classroom and get down to business showing teachers what the best thing they can do is. So, at the end, we have response to interventions, helping to assess student work, such as in our lesson protocol that we are learning this course, and asking yourselves, what did the students gather? What is evident about their understanding from the learning artifacts? To go along with this, the literacy coach position or the literacy coach view to me and working with Julia and Jessica, we took this assignment and first we dissected it and we each took a certain content area. Then we met together and what we did was we put our information all on a shared Google Doc. Then we took that and got together again and we met and we decided to split the presentation and slideshows into questions so that we were presenting collaborative research work done by all three of us in each piece. So it really took a lot of working together, a lot of respect, peer respect, and peer I don't know, just basically, I guess, respect, peer respect. And it was a joy working all three of us together, splitting it up initially and then putting it back together and splitting it up in a totally different way. So both times we all learned something different from each other and from the research we did. So we hope you liked the presentation. Enjoy.